Ladies and gentlemen, welcome finally to episode 3 of Buddy Wars. I am so excited for today because we have two absolutely fantastic minds of two totally different generations who I'm sure are going to provide a totally different outlook on the pay-per-view that I've asked them to present. But first of all, down to business. To let Simon and Matty know, the poll has closed. Last week's poll finished at 45% to 55% in the favor of Sai. So, Simon, you were my friend. You will be moving on to stage 2 of the tournament to face either. Well, I haven't decided who you're going to face yet. We'll deal with that when the time comes. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to put the rules up on the screen for you and the people at home so we know what we're doing. Round 1 will be decided by a coin toss. You will have 15 minutes with a 10-minute overtime to present your book for the absolutely fabulous Uncensored 96. Round 2, this will be 4 to 8 weeks of booking plus the pay-per-view in here. Round 2, you will have a 10-minute time limit with no overtime to rebook a WrestleMania of my given choice. Maximum of 10 matches, minimum of 8 matches. You'll be going back-to-back, booking this together off the cuff. Right, round 3, you have 5 minutes to book a pay-per-view between yourselves. One of the worst pay-per-views of all time, in my opinion, and you'll find out what that is just before the round starts. Okay, gents, are you ready?
I was born ready.
Dan, heads or tails?
Show me heads.
It is tails. Captain, would you like to go first or second?
I am going to let Dan go first.
Okay, Dan.
All right. Let's do
You have 15 minutes starting now. The floor is yours.
Okay, so given everything around this, and I don't want people to think that I'm trying to use any kind of excuse here, I'm not. This was done. I was fully aware. I have basically nothing to blame but myself and also just the greater forces of the universe at large. Doesn't matter, right? Anyway, I want to start off by talking about a bit of the mindset with this because I feel like it will be key to going through this, which is I am going with the idea of I am fantasy booking with the entire and full power of hindsight with me, but also from the perspective that I am in the time period that this is taking place, kind of approximately around February to March 1996, and I have complete and perfect foresight of everything that is going to happen in the future.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. It will feed into a bigger idea. But basically, one of the core parts of this is what we're dealing with here. Because the center of this ultimately comes down to this idea of the feud between Hulk Hogan and the Dungeon of Doom. Now, there's one glaring problem we have here, which is the existence of the Dungeon of Doom. Now, I could have gone to the effort of booking them out of existence, but as I found out, at least from one of my sources, this thing basically traces its way all the way back to 1995. So that's not an option. So I'm going to get different. I'm going to get creative. Because Hulk Hogan versus the Dungeon of Doom, outside of Chikara, might be one of the most comic book things I've ever seen.
It's not hot.
So, let's make it comic book.
Okay.
Let's make it revel in its own silliness. As I take you through this run of story of Hulk Hogan versus the Dungeon of Doom and then the larger alliance to end Hulkamania.
Okay. In that case, Dan, begin round 1.
So we're pretty much going to start off. I basically timelined this back to February 19th, Nitro. I've only booked Nitros because I'm not dealing with anything else.
That's fine.
And pretty much everything about this is mostly going to stay the same. I've moved around a couple matches. So there was Sting versus the Giant as a dark match. Swap that over for something I think there was Loch Ness versus Alex Wright. Switch that off. I have a lot of love and respect for both of them. I'm an Alex Wright guy. Doesn't need to be anywhere near the main card of this Nitro. We're going to take Sting versus the Giant. We're actually going to bump it up to basically being like a co-main event, but basically everything else stays exactly the same. We have Flair as the WCW champion, in full control of like everything in this sense. And then what we're going to do is we are going to have the Dungeon of Doom at like basically towards the close of the show say like, Hogan, we have stepped up to like finally get you. We are going to take you down. Like, you will not be able to stand against us. I'm now going to break off into a little side story because that's how my brain works.
Okay.
Side story. I'm writing a wrong that I believe was committed. And I'm going to run through this as a little micro story. Also on this show, we are going to have Medusa come out and cut a promo talking about how she feels that WCW management have let her down. They have not done enough. They have not respected her decision or given her any support. She is mad. She's infuriated at what they have been doing. We'll close this little subsection off and go into the next week. Assuming I've got my dates right, it should be the February 27th. Okay. So basically, what we're going to start doing with this whole Hulk Hogan versus the Dungeon of Doom thing is we're going to start building like teams. People are going to align themselves, and people are going to, have this kind of thing like, oh, where do we go? So we're going to have the Dungeon of Doom absolutely trying to stack the deck against Hogan. And basically, we're going to start bringing in a little bit of that like reality of wrestling that was soon to come later. We're going to start sowing the seeds. We're basically sowing the seeds for the NWO already.
Okay.
And we are going to have the Dungeon of Doom basically come out and be like, look, do you want to work with Hogan? That guy? The guy that steals all the attention away from people? The guy who tries to protect himself? Look at us. Look at what we're doing. You don't want to be with him. So we're going to run through. There's going to be a few matches. In fact, Hogan is going to go up to Lex Luger and try and recruit him for his team in his fight against the Dungeon of Doom.
Okay.
And Luger's not going to be sure about it. He doesn't know, like, should I really do this? Hogan will get his first teammate. It's Brutus the Barber Beefcake. It's inevitable. It was always going to happen. He follows him everywhere. The Dungeon of Doom are going to get their kind of like first official team member, which is going to be the Giant as like their big muscle. And they're going to be like, here, look at our guy. He's massive, right? Jumping back off into the side story, we're going to have Medusa, and she's just going to be having like matches against job wrestlers. Be like, look, this is who you're giving me. They're no one. I don't care. Look, I'm done in like half a minute. We go off next. We're going to kind of formally incorporate this like alliance to end Hulkamania kind of thing. This is like a full-on like rogues gallery combining together.
Okay.
And we're going to get our first new and quite strange member. I'm embracing the power of foresight and the power of hindsight. And I'm going to give them a new representative, a new face for this alliance to end Hulkamania. And it's a young Chris Kanyon.
Okay. Interesting choice.
And we are going to have Kanyon coming out and talking about how Hogan is actually stealing the light away from people, stealing the light away from hard-working wrestlers that should be getting the attention, and young wrestlers like him who are not being given opportunities because all they care about is Hogan. Hogan is stopping other people from progressing.
Bit of reality. I like it.
So we're going to just try and get that reality coming in. Hogan's going to get his next recruit, who is going to be Sting, because Sting's like, hey, I know we've had our differences, but these are some bad guys. I don't want involved with them. I want to protect WCW. Everyone's nice and happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're then going to kind of go off a bit to like Luger as well. He's still conflicted, still undecided, doesn't know where he's going to be. To jump off into the side story, Medusa's still complaining, saying, I want a real challenge. I want the best that they can get. So, we're going to pull a little bit of string, a little bit of connection. We're going to give her a chance to get some young wrestlers coming up and developing from Japan, because we have a little agreement for this to take place. Yeah. I've decided to go for a young Emi Sakura. You could pick someone else if you like.
No, it's a good choice.
Just someone that's there. They can have like a little 7-8 minute match, right? Everything's quite nice. And it's like, oh, look, here's someone nice that's like really, really cool that we can get a chance to see. Jumping to the next week. The Alliance to end Hulkamania has decided to cap off with their ultimate plan.
10 minutes down.
Cool. To end Hulk Hogan. And that is that they have managed to get the Four Horsemen on their side against him. Because they don't care about him. They don't care about Hogan. They don't care about Sting, right? They don't care about any of that. It's about results. It's about who has the belt, who has the gold. That's what's important, right? Hogan trying to take the attention away from Flair as champion? No, it's Ric Flair. He doesn't want that. They are just going to be running down all the people that they have involved. And so we're going to start digging even deeper. Ric Flair saying, you know what? If anyone joins us and is able to pin Hogan, I'll give you a title shot. Coming along and saying, you know what? You want to go over to Hulk Hogan? Here's a wad of cash for you. You want a chance at hitting the big time? You come with us. You roll with the Horsemen. You don't roll with them. What, you want to deal with the people from yesteryear? We don't do that. You want the now. You want what's hot. You want what's getting money, right? We're getting money. They're not getting money. Hogan has one last ace up his sleeve. His belief, the thing that he believes can help him win, which is the Mega Powers reuniting. He's going to get Savage involved. My idea was to sell this as like a one-night only thing, but this is WCW, so that just doesn't work in any way, shape, or form. But this is basically how things are going to go. To jump off into the side story, basically it's Medusa being like, you need to do right by my decision. You need to respect me. You need to put respect on my name. You need to give me a challenge. Someone that can actually test me. So we jump up into pay-per-view night. For the most part, most of the matches will stay the same. I haven't gone to the liberty and the effort of changing them. Things like Conan versus Guerrero, I'm personally fine with. The only major change I have made is that we're going to have Booker T and Stevie Ray in a tag match in the dark match for the tags against the Nasty Boys.
Okay.
Just because I personally think that we should have the Steiners versus the Road Warriors for no purpose other than I think it would be hilarious.
It would be a really good match.
Like we had like the Giant versus Loch Ness. For the purposes of my booking, the Giant can't be in this match. Which will be replaced, which I've replaced with DDP versus Disco Inferno, and DDP wins in 2 minutes, right?
I like this. This is good.
We're going to keep Finlay versus Regal because that's awesome. I also had to make tweaks to make things happen. So we have Sting versus Brutus Beefcake, whatever, right? So we're going to jump up into our side story. We're going to close that off. Medusa's going to be there saying, like, I haven't been given this challenge. They promised me this really, really big opponent, right? They promised me this. They promised me that. Bam. Lights are going to go down. They're going to come back up. Who are we going to have at stage? Boom. It's Luna Vachon. She's going to walk down to the ring with Bull Nakano. They're going to have a 12-minute match, which is going to be an absolute heater, right? We're going to give Medusa the win so she can have like the woo go USA moment, right? I think it would be cool. It's a nice kind of like cap off. It gives them another match, which is really awesome, right? Now we get into the meat and the potatoes, right? I have to try and figure out this whole thing, right? So, we all know the main event of Uncensored 96. And it's a mess. And the Tower of Doom cage match, right? I have to change it. The Tower of Doom cage never happens, okay? We're going to turn the Tower of Doom cage into something like a little bit more of a metaphorical Tower of Doom, right? The Tower of Doom cage is just a piece of shit. It's hilarious, but I don't think I can actually improve it, which is hilarious. So here's what we're going to do. It's a Tower of Doom, but like an arcade tower. I've just turned this into a gauntlet match. Specifically, a tag team gauntlet match.
Okay.
And it is going to be the Mega Powers versus various teams made from the Alliance to End Hulkamania.
All right. I like this.
So, my concept is basically they're all just there and they're like, we want a piece of the pie. We want to be the one to take him down. So we're going to start off hot. We are actually going to start with a mix of the Alliance and the Horsemen. We're going to start off with Canyon and Brian Pillman. We're going to have like a really young, hot start, trying to give them, I say like a little bit of a rub. There's only so much rub you can get in a Hogan match. But we're just going to have them go at like quite a fast pace to just start things off. Eventually, we're going to have Savage get the pin on Canyon. Then the next team is going to come out. We're going to slow the pace down. So we're going to have Kevin Sullivan and the Barbarian just to give like Hogan an easy rub, slow everything down. Boom! It is the next team for the Alliance to end Hulkamania. And oh my god, who's that? It's Lex Luger! We found out, right, that Lex Luger has been convinced to join the Alliance to end Hulkamania, right? Because they were like, you can't trust him, right? You're going to roll with us. To make things work, I've had to tag team him with the Shark, right? Just let it happen, okay? The only way I can make this work in practice. So we're gonna have a bunch of power spots, let them work over. And then while everything's happening in the chaos, Luger's gonna get thrown out of the I'm skipping ahead. The Shark's gonna eat the pin, and then Luger's gonna be on the outside, just being like, "Oh no, what have I actually done? Like I shouldn't have done this." Next pairing, the absolute monsters. It's the Giant and Meng, just to absolutely dominate, run strength, high impact, slow pace. But then, boom, the Giant's gonna go for a move. He goes over to the ropes, and Luger trips him. Bam! Hogan hits the leg drop. 1, 2, 3. And suddenly it seems like they've beaten the massive challenge. This is so WCW, it hurts. We're going to have a moment where there's a break bit. Ric Flair is going to come out and start taunting them and being like, yeah, well, you got through like half of it, but we're just about to make things even crazier. We've got our special, we've been talking to our special contact, and we've got some really, really special people in here. Bam! It is the Great Muta and Jinsei Shinzaki, who I checked are both able to, and they had this date completely free.
Yeah.
So we're going to get both of them in here. They're going to wreak havoc. Hogan's going to try and slow things down. Savage is in the ring trying to get some work going. Everything gets crazy. We're going to have Muta hit the Shining Wizard on Hogan. He goes for the pin, but Hogan's not the legal man. Savage drops the elbow, gets the pin. Flair stood up at the top of the ramp saying, "Oh, if you want to beat the man, you got to beat the man." And then he starts walking down to the ring, right? Just straight from there, like he has his gear ready. He's going to be joined by Arn Anderson. As the Horsemen try and defend their chances and try and stop him, they're just going to have like a proper Southern wrestling style type match for like the last maybe like 10 minutes or so. Flair's getting frustrated. He goes to the outside. He grabs a chair. Tries to go for the hit. Misses. Savage takes the chair. But then Flair pushes Savage, holding the chair into Hogan. Hogan goes down. On hits the spine buster onto Savage. And then On and Flair pin Hogan for the free. Oh my God. What's going on? And then we're going to close the show off with Tony Schiavone being like, oh, well, who can Hogan trust now? Who can he put his faith in? What is left for Hulk Hogan in WCW, the end, and the NWO form?
You know what, Dan? You're the first person to complete that within the time limit. So, bravo. You didn't use your overtime or anything. I expected chaos, and I got chaos. That's the best way I can put this. Thoroughly enjoyed. You made me laugh. I love the fact that you brought Muta and Shinzaki in. I like it when people do their research and check if people are available. Well done. That was fantastic. All in all, I've got to give you a star rating. Got to be fair. 3.75. 3.75. Absolutely loved it. Well done, mate. That was fantastic. Right, Captain, are you ready to present Uncensored 1996?
I am ready, but one point of order. Dan got a little bit of an opening statement before his clock started, so I would like a good little 2-3 minutes.
I will give you 2-3 minutes. I will put the banner up for round one again when it is time to start.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, Dan, you came out of the gates firing. You did exactly what I thought you were going to do, and I was prepared for it. So, rebooking Uncensored, I have to tip the cap because this card was actually a lot easier to book than I anticipated because Kevin Sullivan is a genius. And the more I researched, the more I realized why he is in my top 3 favorite bookers of all time. That having been said, we're going to be keeping a couple of matches from the card, but we're going to be changing things up because I'm all about booking for the future. And the way I book is going to sound a little different than what Dan did. I book in reverse. I start with my card. How am I going to get there? Because I know where I want us to be, but how we're going to get there, I'll explain match by match.
Okay. Are you ready, sir?
Oh, I am ready.
All right. In that case, your time starts now.
All right. So I have to give Dan credit. He did 2 things exactly the way I did. We're keeping Guerrero and Conan. We're keeping Belfast Bruiser and Steven Regal. In fact, those are going to be our first 2 matches out the gate. Bam, bam. We're starting hot. Guerrero and Conan are going to tear the roof off. Bruiser and Regal are going to tear each other apart. Now, third match on this 9-match card is going to be a number 1 contenders match. And if you'll notice, every one of these matches has a little bit of a gimmick. Why? It's uncensored. It was their gimmick pay-per-view. Everything, it was the one night of the year. It's uncensored. We can do what we want. So, third match on the card is going to be Steiner Brothers versus the Nasty Boys. The winners will meet the winners of the tag team match later on Nitro tomorrow for the World Tag Team titles. Steiners are going over the Nasty Boys. And as you'll notice as this goes, we're placating Fu Manchu here because in order to get him to do what I need him to do for July, we're going to have to get his buddies involved here. So Nasty Boys are on the card, but they're going to get caught by the Steiners. Fourth match, Chinwag, thank you for bringing in Medusa, but I'm going to do Deuce better than you did Deuce. She had been feuding with Colonel Rob Parker and Sensational Sherry, his fried pie, if you remember Clash of the Champions 96 in January. A couple of weeks before on Nitro, Medusa is going to finally answer Colonel Parker's challenge. Medusa wants Parker one-on-one, but Parker's not going to wrestle her one-on-one because he knows he's going to get his tail whipped. But he does propose a counteroffer, a mixed tag team match. Colonel Parker and Sensational Sherry, his fried pie, against Medusa and a partner of her choosing. Well, we are in Tupelo, Mississippi. We are in home ground of Mid-South and Bill Watts. And who better for Medusa to choose for her mystery tag team partner than an old Mid-South favorite? Ho! Medusa and Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Parker and Sherry in a mixed tag. Deuce and Duggan are going to go over. It's going to be a fun match. We're 4 matches in. We've had heat. We've had blood, literally. We've had great tag team. We've had a little fun. Now we're going to get to the meat of the matter. We're getting to the stake of the card. Our next match, if you remember at this time, Diamond Dallas Page was kind of down on his luck. And he would be, at this pay-per-view, actually put out of wrestling for a few months so that he could come back fresh and win Battle Bowl a couple months later. But he's going to have a different opponent than he originally did on this card. And his opponent is going to be someone who I think these guys could potentially tear the house down that night. Page was getting there. He wasn't quite there yet, but he was still pretty good. But again, doing retro booking, I like to put my lower tier belts on guys who deserve them. Johnny B. Bad's contract had run out. He was going to Vince. Well, if I'm going to put the world television title on anybody on this roster, there's only one name. It's Chris Benoit. Benoit captures the television title on Nitro a couple, 3 weeks before this. And it's going to be him versus Diamond Dallas Page. Page wants his belt back. He wants to redeem himself. Benoit, being the Wolverine, the Canadian crippler, he is going to tell Page, all right, I'll put this television title on the line, but you got to put your career on the line. So it's career versus title for the TV title. Chris Benoit, Diamond Dallas Page, I'm giving them 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to let them go out there and put on a clinic as only they can, because Benoit was a beast. Page was a damn good worker. And we're going to let that be sort of the middle of our card. Getting into it deeper, going back to Starrcade 1995, the old adage, fool me once, shame on you.
5 minutes gone, mate.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Arn Anderson cost Randy Savage the world title at Starrcade 95. 2 weeks after Super Bowl, when Savage had lost the belt to Flair, they had their rematch on Nitro. We're keeping that the same. Anderson is going to cost Savage for the second time. Savage has had enough. Savage has snapped, but he realizes as much as he wants Flair and he wants that belt, he wants Arn Anderson more. And so Savage is going to lay down the gauntlet. It is going to be a last man standing match. Macho Man Randy Savage against the Enforcer Arn Anderson. This is going to be a phenomenal match between two awesome workers. But at the end, Arn is going to catch Savage with the DDT, pin him, and then after that, he's going to catch him with another. Savage is knocked out. He is going to be assisted to the back by Doug Dellinger and company. Well, there's one less friend Hogan's going to have for the main event. Getting to our next match. At this point, the greatest tag team of all time, the Road Warriors, had reemerged in WCW. They are going to be challenging for the World Tag Team titles against Harlem Heat in a Chicago street fight, because I am not doing what they did originally. That sucked. We're not going to have Sting and Booker T doing the mismatch. No, it's going to be the Road Warriors against Harlem Heat, Chicago street fight. They got about 15, 20 minutes, and Road Warriors are going to catch Stevie Ray with the Doomsday Device. Warriors got the belts, and we are going to let the Road Warriors run with those for as long as we legitimately can, as long as the crowd likes them, which they're always going to pop for the Road Warriors. But at this time, it was kind of wishy-washy. But at the same time, I know Harlem Heat's here for the long haul. I've got the Road Warriors for a very limited amount of time. I'm going to squeeze every last ounce of juice out of the Legion of Doom as I possibly can. So we are now 7 matches in. At this time in real life, the World Tag Team Champions were Sting and Lex Luger. This sucked. Sting was working babyface. Luger was working heel. Why do you put the belts on him?
Yeah, it made no sense.
This was the one thing Sullivan did on his own that I didn't like. The night after Super Brawl, Sting and Luger dropped the belts to the Harlem Heat because Luger allowed himself to get distracted by Sherry and Jimmy Hart having a dog and cat fight on the outside. Sting gets double teamed by Harlem Heat, loses the belts because Luger did Luger things, as Luger tends to do Luger things. The next week, they have the rematch. More of the same stuff happens. Sting and Luger finally come to a shoving match. This has been boiling over for a little while. As the weeks progress on Nitro, we're going to whip out the old commentary gimmick. Sting's having a match, Luger's on commentary. Luger has a match, Sting is on commentary. We're going to have shoving matches. We're going to have them having to get separated until finally this can no longer be resolved. This is like Nick and Cy, two good friends. You know what? We're finally going to have it out. Friend versus friend. It's going to be Sting versus Lex Luger with Jimmy Hart. No gimmicks really on this one other than friend versus friend because I've got plans for these two. Yes, Bash at the Beach, they're going to team up. They're going to put their differences aside for the sake of WCW. But in the next 3 months, they're going to have a trilogy in a series of matches. This is the first one, though, to keep the heat going. Luger catches Sting in this one with some help from Jimmy Hart and his megaphone. Sting gets some color. This ain't over yet, not by a long shot. So we've got our first 8 matches. Now to the one that absolutely caused me the most pain, blues, suffering, and agony. What the hell to do here? I know I'm bringing Hogan in July for the NWO, but one of my first laws of booking, just because you're going out doesn't mean you're going over. And I'm sorry, Fu Manchu. You can use your creative control. You can call in the 82nd Airborne. I've got the book. You're doing the job because I've got to get you off TV to freshen you up, get you out of people's minds. How can we miss you if you won't go away? But also, again, you have to placate Hogan. You have to make it work for him, brother. We're not doing any kind of gauntlet cage. We're going to do what Hogan wants. Hogan defeats the Giant at Super Brawl, and by doing so, earns a shot at the world title. Flair just won the world title. So in the weeks leading up, we know it's going to be Hogan versus Flair at Uncensored for the world title. But we're going to have to kick it up a little bit of a notch. And because I just happen to have my hands on Ted Turner's checkbook.
10 minutes gone.
Thank you, sir. Just because I happen to have my hands on Ted Turner's checkbook and there's no real wrestler I want to bring in here, there was no call that I could not bring in a special guest referee enforcer.
No, that's fine.
Well, it's 1996. There is no bigger star on the planet, and there is no one to placate better Hogan with than one of his good old buddies, the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold appears on Nitro, pumping his movie that's coming out in July, Eraser. Very good movie. But Nate being Nate, Arn's got his seat there at the front row. The cameras are on him. Nate gets on the mic and tells Arnold, you may be the king of the silver screen, but I'm the man who owns this ring. And if you know what's good for you, you better stay out of it. Arnold gets up. He's taking his jacket off. People are popping. You're thinking, oh, God, is he going to do this? Of course he doesn't. There's strict rules. You ain't touching Arnold. He's the biggest celebrity on planet Earth. I'm paying him 7 figures to do this. Next week, we get an interview with Hogan, and we're trying to figure out what's going to be going on with this match. He's got the title shot, and Flair is contractually obligated to defend the belt. But also the fact, considering we have this alliance to end Hulkamania, we've got the Horsemen and the Dungeon Doom that have been, together for the last 2 months. Here's the deal, Hogan. You'll get your title shot at Uncensored. But if you lose, you cannot challenge for the belt again for the remainder of your current WCW contract. Hint, hint, his contract ran out in June. So we're safe there, but this is pre-internet. People don't know this. So we're going to up the ante a little bit more. Hogan counters. All right. I'll accept that. But here's what we're going to do, brother. You're going to have a man in your corner. I'm going to have a man in my corner. First guy to throw in the towel loses the match. It's going to be a termination match. In my corner, brother, is going to be none other than Ed Leslie. Good job, Dan. You got to bring Ed Leslie in. Nature Boy picks for his guy, the Giant, because who better to watch your back? And, well, we hear over the speakers, down comes Arnold. He wants in on this because he felt a little jaded by Nature Boy. So Arnold is going to be the special guest referee for the termination match at Uncensored. So we've got world title match. Hogan loses. He can't challenge again for the belt. Schwarzenegger's there. We've got paparazzi. We got cameras, popcorn, hot dogs, people throwing babies in the air. What the hell is going to happen? So Arnold's in the ring. Flair and Hogan make their entrances with their respective people. Match, we're going in, we're about 15, 20 minutes in. And so here's the beat by beat plot of this, how we're going to get rid of Hogan before the NWO. Hogan misses the leg drop, figure 4 from Flair. Hogan reverses it, gets out of it. They fight a little more. Flair goes for the big knee drop. Flair misses the knee. Hogan puts Flair in the figure 4. Well, Giant ain't going to throw in that towel because he's Kevin Sullivan's boy. He wants to see this thing go until Hogan's gone. So what's he going to do? Well, you got Arnold over here trying to see, Flair, do you give up? Or she'll say, Flair, do you give up? Ah! Giant goes around, picks up Ed Leslie as only he can, choke slams him on the floor, grabs his towel, throws it in the ring, goes back around to the apron, gets up. He's pointing at Arnold. Look, the towel. Arnold sees it, calls for the bell. Hogan thinks he's won. Then he gets up and he sees the towel. He looks over, he sees Brother Brood-Eye laying on the floor in a lot of pain, blue than agony. As he's going over to the rope to check on him, chop block from Flair. Flair puts Hogan in the figure 4. Arnold's trying to break the hold. The match is over. But from underneath the ring, we see come Kevin Sullivan. Giant gets in. He's got Arnold by the arms. Who else is going to hold Arnold back in this match except the Giant? Kevin Sullivan with the powder. Bam. Arnold's blinded. Arnold's done his duty. He goes down. Cash your check, my friend. Thank you for bringing a lot of attention to our match. Giant gets Hogan, choke slams him in the ring. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Well, down comes from earlier tonight a wounded Macho Man. He's hurt, but his buddy's getting it taken to him. He gets in, he jumps on Giant, he jumps on Flair. But here comes Double A. He grabs Savage again, DDT. Savage goes down. Giant does his kind of kick roll, puts Savage outside. You got him and Brother Brood-Eye laying down. And now for the coup de grace. Flair in Psycho Flair mode grabs for the mic. Hogan, you want this belt so bad? We're going to give it to you. Flair and Anderson, second rope spike pile driver onto Big Goldie for Hogan. He's doing the shake. He's doing the quiver as when Taker missed his head by about 6 inches. But, we've choke slammed him. We figure forward him. We've spike pile drove him onto Big Goldie. There is nothing left of Hogan. Out come the EMTs. Security's trying to walk Savage and Brother Brood-Eye back to the locker room. They're putting we're doing not just a stretcher job, but the full-on stretcher job. They're using the backboard, the neck brace. His neck's got to be broke. So Sullivan gets on the mic as they're hauling Hogan out. Bye-bye, Hogan. won this. But there's a little bit of unfinished business. Entranceway, ramp, side of the ring. You got Arn, you got Flair. They're, looking down, watching Hogan. Giant and Sullivan are behind him. Sullivan's still on the mic. Arn, Nature Boy, we formed this alliance to end Hulkamania. And now that we've ended Hulkamania, and just like his neck is now broken, so is our agreement. Giant grabs Double A, Flair, choke slam, bam! Out comes TV champion Chris Benoit. Only so much he can do. He jumps on Giant. He takes a choke slam for his trouble. But we're not done yet. Sullivan is telling Giant, grab Flair, put him through another one. Well, if you remember at that time, they had the Horseman buffet table set up on the ring on the entry aisle. Giant takes Flair, throws him over his shoulder like a child, takes him down to the buffet table, choke slams Flair through the table. Out come Woman and Elizabeth. Woman screaming like a banshee. It's chaos, confusion. Arn gets up. Benoit's getting up. They're walking over trying to check on Nature Boy. Meanwhile, you got Giant and Sullivan. They're standing at the top of the ramp. Giant, arms raised in the air. They've won the battle. They've won the war. Now they're going to take on the Horseman and put the belt on the Giant. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you tomorrow night on Nitro.
Well done, Cap. You are the second person to finish within the time limit. Bonus points. You gave me, like Dan, exactly what I expected. Well thought out, logical, embedded in 1996 booking, and I appreciate that. That's absolutely fantastic. Love what you did with the Giant. Love that Hogan got the absolute snot beaten out of him at the end. That's always impressive because that does work for me, brother. Absolutely loved it. Got to give you a star rating. 3.95.
Thank you, sir.
Gotta be fair. Absolutely loved it. Okay, gentlemen, are you ready to find out what you are booking for round 2?
Oh, Christ.
Go ahead.
Gentlemen, you have 10 minutes between the two of you to rebook and present the card for WrestleMania 27.
I've never seen this WrestleMania. I'm looking up the card right now.
Yeah, I guess look at this card.
I will give you 2 minutes to check it out.
Holy jumping. Good God. Oh.
Right.
Now I remember why I don't remember this. It's because I chose to forget it. I should say.
You blocked it from your memory, just like many of us did, Dan. Always remember, guys, stay within the time period available. Stay with the people that are available. You're doing this one match each, back to back. You book the match. You book the segment in between the match. You move on. Are you ready, or do you need another minute?
I don't even know if I'll ever be ready to do this.
Quick question. So I book match, he books match, or like the same matches, or are we rotating?
No. Rotating. So you go through the card one after another. Decide between yourselves who you want to start.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4 or 5.
Okay.
6.
All right.
Okay. Right, gentlemen. You have 10 minutes to rebook WrestleMania 27. Starting as soon as I get my thing here. Now.
Who's starting?
Between yourselves.
All right, I'll go first here because there is no way in hell at this point Sheamus is going over Daniel Bryan. Bryan is going to beat Sheamus. It's not going to be a no contest. Bryan's walking out with the U.S. title belt because Daniel Bryan is awesome, and I'm putting a belt on him.
Okay.
Well, what the plan apparently there was some weird like battle royale to take place. So I'm just gonna. Can I just nix that entirely?
You can do whatever you like.
I'm just gonna say that I nixed that entirely. It says it's a dark match. I'm just gonna put no match there, and I'm gonna run some kind of segment. Oh god, this is like SmackDown and Raw circa like 2011. Who the hell was in the roster at that time? That would be a really good match for Sheamus. You know what?
Go on.
I'll just go for John Morrison. Sheamus versus John Morrison.
Okay.
All right. This next one, I absolutely, it is abhorrent to me to ever put a world title match on this early in a card, especially first off here, Edge against Alberto Del. Well, I had a good name, but I can't really use that one.
Yeah.
Edge is going over, and he's going over pretty quick because his opponent here sucks. Should never been in a world title match.
Okay.
Your go, Dan.
Match 4, I've got Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio, and something in my head tells me this wasn't that awful. So I think I'm just gonna keep it. I think I'm just gonna keep it as is. I don't think I hated this match.
No, it's quite good. Okay, Cap, back to you.
All right. Again, I'm going to have to nix this a little bit because I hate these just thrown in 8-man tag team horse hockey matches. We're going to do what could be probably the best combination of these guys. It's going to be Kane one-on-one with, let's go him and Wade Barrett. Actually, no, scratch that. Kofi and Wade. Let's go Kofi and Wade.
Okay.
My next one is Randy Orton versus CM Punk with.
Watch yourself.
With the new Nexus banned from ringside. I mean, ideally, I wouldn't have the new Nexus involved in this at all, and I would just make it like no DQ match. Just let them go at it. It probably extend it out to maybe like 17, 18 minutes, and just let them have an absolute like. I'm guessing this was like a blow off to something, but just have an absolute blow off match and get a little bit crazy with it. Still have Randy going. I probably still have Randy going over to set up Punk for the future.
Okay.
What year was 27?
2011.
2011, my friend.
2011. Yeah, as much as I hate to do it, I would probably have to agree with you there, Dan. Next match. Oh, Jesus. Well,
5 minutes gone, boys.
I'll keep it because of I get the attraction, especially the man serving as the guest referee, but no way under God's green earth am I letting he announcer who shan't be named go over the legend Jerry Lawler. So Lawler's going over Cole.
For my next one, I've got Undertaker versus Triple H.
Will he break the streak?
Yeah. I think with this, I think the way that we do this is we keep it, but we sell it as like, you know, this is Triple H's like second go. It's his chance for redemption, rather than just them being like, oh, does he break the streak? No, like sell up the fact that this is number 2. This is like, this could be his last roll of the dice. It also doesn't go 29 bloody minutes that apparently it did.
Yes,
None of that. 19 maybe. I'm pushing 15 at best.
Okay.
I hate this next match. I hate this kind of crap, but it's also WrestleMania, so I kind of get it a little bit. But yeah, I'm putting Dolph over Morrison just because Dolph's too good to do the job to John.
Oh, you can't have John Morrison. Dan already used him in an earlier match.
Okay. All right. So John Morrison is just... All right. Celebrity. It's WrestleMania. I'm putting that Jaycee Gill Snooki in a match with Trish Stratus.
Okay. I'll give you that. Would have been much more entertaining than the tag we got. So
and Trish is going to go over because if I had to hear that annoying voice of Snooki's again, I might just shove an ice pick in my eardrum.
Okay, Dan.
Okay, so I have The Miz versus John Cena in that whole like
3 minutes
mess.
left.
In that whole like mess of a main event in which the Miz was kind of never really relevant, and the Miz
it's all about the Rock.
And the Miz is just kind of like a non-factor in this, so I don't really know the exact way to go about this, because obviously everything's setting up Rock versus Cena. So I think the way that we maybe do this, we maybe redeem this slightly, is we're gonna run the match kind of as is, and then instead what we're gonna do is let the Miz go over. We'll make it debatable. It won't be entirely clean. And then basically for the final thing, we'll have The Rock enter and be like, see, you couldn't beat that bozo. What makes you think you're up to like my legacy? Go check yourself at the door, please.
Okay. Right, gentlemen, I believe that was the main event. That was a very interesting choice of the way to do a card, but I like the way you handled it. You left things the same that needed to be left, and then you moved John Morrison, which was hilarious.
Yes.
So I was
Minor little point of order, Dan. Why do you think Taker and Hunter went too long there? These are arguably the two best workers on your roster at this time. 29 minutes. I'd let them go 40 if they wanted.
I believe that we have very different mindsets.
Very well.
Right, gentlemen, that was round 2. You did very well. Not the easiest WrestleMania to rebook, but that's why I gave it you, because it sucked.
The problem with that time period is that time period is so mid. It's not even astonishingly bad. It's just mid.
It's just meh. The whole time it was just meh until Punk got back to the top of the card. That was it. Right, gentlemen. Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, right. Christ.
You have 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Same again, back-to-back booking to present King of the Ring 1995.
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you give you a minute to look up the card.
I was going to say, can I have a moment?
Yes, you can.
I remember this one quite well, so this is not going to be a problem.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, not everyone's in that same position.
That's the point. Look up the card, guys. You've got more than a couple of days. Well, you literally have a minute. Okay. Got to keep to the algorithm. It is the overlord. While nobody's there, ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the show, if you're a first-time watcher, please feel like if you could subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm really knows we exist. If you like the content we put out here at WrestleBuddy, if you enjoy what we do, subscribing is the best way to support the channel. It's free. It helps us out incredibly. And if you'd like to drop the video a like, that for me personally would be great. If you like the show, if you don't like the show, let me know in the comments. I'll try and answer back to everybody that I can. Right, gents. Are you ready?
Okay.
I'm good to go.
All right, Captain, you can start this time. I think that's fair.
All right.
Hang on. Your time starts now.
All right. First match, King of the Ring qualifier. Savio Vega, as much as I hate to do it, is going to go over IRS with Ted. I love IRS, but at this point, Savio is a rising star, and I thought he always got the shat end of the stick so many times. So Vega's going over here.
Next.
Okay. So then I have the following one, which is the choice of Savio Vega against Yokozuna. Personally, I'm gonna go for Yoko just because I think it gives an essence of attraction to everything. I just don't understand. I don't know where Savio Vega kind of generally fits into things.
Wait till we get to season 3. Once we cover New Generation Attitude, Dan, you'll get educated.
Yeah.
Yeah. No way on God's green earth at this point am I putting Rhodey over Bob Holly. Even though he does have JEFFJRRETT in his corner, Bob Holly's going over Rhodey.
Okay. Done.
If Jarrett was in that match, he'd be winning it.
Yes.
I have Shawn Michaels versus Kama. It goes to a time limit draw. I think here I'm gonna just give Shawn the win because I think that's infinitely more interesting than setting up a bye in the next round.
It's what should have happened.
Agreed.
So
completely.
yeah, I'm just gonna give Shawn the win here.
Okay.
All right. As
3
much
minutes
as I
left,
hate to,
boys.
as much as I hate to do it, yes, Mabel has to go over here because we're gonna have bigger plans for Taker. Mabel goes over.
Okay.
So then we end up with Mabel versus Yokozuna.
No, it would have been Mabel versus Sean.
Oh, Mabel versus Sean. Mabel versus Sean.
I'm keeping track of the tournament here.
Yeah. Then, I mean, I'm not hot on Mabel, so I would give Sean. I would just give Sean the win here. As much as I still don't really particularly like Sean at this time period.
Nobody likes Sean at this time period.
So Sean. All right. Let's see here. Next one, Savio Vega. Well, he had advanced, so that one kind of nixes. We've already. So I'm going to cut that one out, and I'm going to insert our semifinal match: Yoko versus Bob Holly. Yoko goes over.
Cool.
Leaving us to a Shawn Michaels Yokozuna final.
Shawn Michaels Yokozuna final. I don't know what the hell to do with this.
Camp Cornette versus Sean. They hated each other, and Yoko could work at that point, but because he was not 600 pounds, he could work.
Yeah,
with just about
I was
anybody.
gonna say, like, we could probably run that, and we could. Oh no, we're like years before any of that other stuff. Yeah, I think I just give Sean here.
All right, so Sean is king of the ring, and that leaves Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler, one of my favorite all-time matches between these two. They had a great run. Jerry Lawler's rants on the Hart family. But yes, Bret's going over. He's making Jerry kiss his foot.
Nice.
Am I now picking the main event?
No, the main event. We still got the main event.
Oh yeah, right. You're doing the main event then.
I don't know what else to replace this with, but just seeing it on pure sight, I frankly don't mind the idea of Bam Bam and Diesel going over Sid and Tatanka. So I'm just gonna say I keep it as is.
Okay.
I would have done a little differently, my friend.
Well, what would you have done then, Kat?
WWF title.
2 minutes.
WWF title. Diesel versus Sid. I think as poor of a drawing champion as Kevin Nash was, Sid at this point could still work quite well. Yes, you might get a little Rock versus Rock kind of rub here. I wouldn't let it go 17 minutes, but the battle of the power bombs. Okay. I mean, what could be
to be fair, if I wanted to, I could go. I would have gone for my base booking, but I don't think people here would resonate with that of Bam Bam versus Sid. So
Diesel goes over. He keeps the belt, but I would have loved to have seen this as a single, the battle of the power bombs.
Russ, I wish I could have made that happen, but it's not in the cards.
No, unfortunately. Right, gentlemen. Fantastic job. Thank you for making Buddy Wars episode 3 something very entertaining for me, which realistically is actually the whole point of this show. I just want to entertain myself.
If you want something that you never ever thought of or seen before in your life, you're in the right place.
If I can make your day better, Nick, then by all means.
It was absolutely fantastic. Loved it, boys. Right, my final ratings for both of you. Dan, you've moved up to a 4-star. Right, Captain, you've moved up to a 4.25 star. Right, just simply because I like what he did with Kevin Nash and Sid at the end of King of the Ring, because that is pretty much what I would have done as well. So, slight bias, but that's where we are. But Dan, you got a higher score than Matty, and you definitely got a higher score than Zane.
Let's go.
So, fantastic job, guys. Thank you for joining me for Buddy Wars Season 3. I have been your host, Nick. Next week, we will have the battle of Andy Pro Wrestling versus the newest member of the Wrestle Buddy team, Dutch Mandel himself, Tyler. And gentlemen, I don't know if you're watching this today, but you will be rebooking WCW Slamboree 2000.
Oh, how I will enjoy this.
See, and you thought you got it bad with Uncensored 96.
I literally for a second I thought Nick's got to be ribbing me here. Like he's gonna like turn something that. No, I was like, okay, I can rebook uncensored. My friends, good luck with Slamboree 2000. I would need a month to sit down and figure that out.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Russ, everybody else in the comments, thanks for joining in. If you enjoy what we do at WrestleBuddy, if you like what we are, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us out massively. Thank you very much for joining us. Gentlemen, this is the part where we wave. And I find the outro.